Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Narinig natin sa unang pagbasa isang pagsasalaysay ng katotohanan, factual. He was lifted up into the clouds and took his seat at the right hand of the Father. That is the fact, narrated by the Acts of the Apostles. But there is a challenge, and the challenge has to do with what Italians call una domanda, a question. Men of Galilee, why are you staring up into the sky? That is a question for you and me right now. Why are we staring up into the altar? Why have we gathered together to celebrate the ascension of the Lord? What's in a Sunday that we feel compelled, in a good way, to come together before the Lord and sing in the praises of His glory? And that is a question that we all need to answer on our own. The second reading tells us what the dream of Paul is for each and every one of us, including me, that you may know what is the hope that belongs to His call. Ascension is not about departures. Ascension is not about disappointment. It is not about death. It's about what the French call a denouement. That's a technical term. My problem is when I use technical terms, may mga nagkakalabitan, naghahanap ng mali, naghahanap ng mapapagkwentuhan, mapapagchismisan. Ayan na naman, $64 word na naman ang ginamit ng pare. But that's a technical term. Any student of the short story would know that there is a rising action in a short story, maikling katha. Yung rising action niyan ay umaakyat. It builds up all the way up to a climax. If the climax doesn't lead to a denouement or a resolution, it's a tragedy. If it leads to a continuing rising action without any climax, it's a comedy. The good news is not comedy, but neither is the good news tragedy, or else it's not good news. The good news has to do not with disappointment, with a denouement, a resolution, a coming to fruition, a realization of our most cherished dreams that has to do with the vision of God. So today, Mark's Gospel tells us what this denouement is all about. And this resolution doesn't happen by itself. It cannot happen without you into the picture. And here now comes the domanda. Men and women of Galilee, why are you staring up into the sky? He has been taken up into heaven and is now seated at the right hand of the Father. God mounts His throne to shouts of joy, with blare of trumpets from on high, for the Lord. This is the reality that we are celebrating. So let me put it this way. Ang kwento po ng pag-akyat ni Jesus sa langit ay hindi isang malaking disappointment. Hindi ito may kinalaman sa kamatayan. Hindi ito may kinalaman sa kabiguan. Hindi ito may kinalaman sa pagwawakas ng ating pangarap at panagimpan at ating mga naisin mithiin, mga pangarap sa buhay. The ascension of the Lord doesn't have to do with taking leave. It is not about death, but totally about life. It is not about an adieu, as the French would say, goodbye, but a bientôt, see you soon. It is not about what the Spaniards called adios, but it is hasta la vista, see you again sometime. And this is the ascension. And take note of the language, and this is now the most important thing. You may forget all about the short story, you may forget about the denouement, but this is what the denouement entails. It's a series of commands. Go where? Into the whole world. For what? To proclaim What to proclaim? The gospel. To whom? To every creature. I repeat that in case you forget. Go into the whole world, proclaim the gospel to every creature. The event has three realities. The command, go into the whole world and proclaim the gospel to every creature, followed up by the being taken up. He was taken up into heaven, followed up by the fruition and the glorification of the God whom we saw physically for some time, together with us in this material world. He took his seat at the right hand of the Father. You see, the Gospel of Mark, short though it is full of action, it's full of meaning, and we have everything that we need in order to fulfill the call and the reason for the hope that is associated with this call. And what is this? It is an action word, it is a movement, it is a call to go into the world. And as I was telling you last Sunday, lest you forget, when you go into the world, you go into a world of wars. Putin is still at it, and he has a lot of glide bombs, Soviet-era glide bombs that they have made a bit more modern by attaching wings and GPS systems. But it is 1,500 kilograms, very deadly dumb bombs that were made intelligent by the GPS. When you go out into the world, you go into the world of corruption. Only a few hundred Filipinos rule the country. And since from way back I can remember, kakaunti yung mga apelyido ng tinatawag nating honorable. Pag nag-apply ka bilang security guard, hahanapan ka ng 2 years college studies. You can become president even by remaining stupid without a degree. You can become a senator na hindi marunong mag-Ingles, kaya lahat tinatagalog, at yan ang mananalo. Galit ang mga Pinoy sa mga Inglesero. Kung ang alam lamang nilang salitang Ingles ay nosebleed, pag nag-Ingles, galit sila. If you go out into the world, you go into the world of inequalities. And the housing situation in the Philippines is a ticking time bomb. And within the next 15 to 20 years, it will be worse. I probably will be gone by then, but your grandchildren will face the problem of a big looming housing crisis. Already, even here in Barangay Don Bosco, a good percentage have no houses of their own. And the beautiful houses are rented by Pogos and Chinese who pretend to be students at 40 years old. And they are all crook-cut hair, with crook-cut hair, ready to take up guns at any time. Sleeper cells, they call them. When you go out into the world, you go out into a world of dysfunctional politics, a world of disunity, a world of chismes and mariteses and pariteses who destroy your life without you realizing it at any given time of day. You are called to go out into that world. You and I are called to go out into that world because that world is the world that needs salvation. That is the world, your world and mine, that we need to bring hope to. And that brings me to the question that I asked you earlier. La domanda nella prima lettura, the question in the first reading. Why are you staring up into the altar? Why are you staring up into the sky? The Christ, your Lord, has been taken up to heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. It's not about departures. It is not about death. It is not about disappointment. It is not about being left behind. It's about a challenge. And I have good news and bad news for you. I'll start with the bad news. If you think your primary duty is to go to Mass, wrong. If you think your primary duty as a Christian is to pray the rosary and pray kilometrical rosaries every day, I pray 8 rosaries a day. There's nothing wrong with that. But that is not my primary duty. Your primary duty as a Christian is not to pray the rosary. If you do that, well and good, that's value added. But if you don't do your primary duty, and this is now what I say, your primary duty is to go proclaim the gospel to the world and to every creature. If you're just sitting pretty at home doing nothing and watching a mass and pretend you're going to mass in your iPad, you're not going to mass, you're watching a mass celebrated in Quiapo. The mass is something that we celebrate together with the faith community. And we are preaching the gospel to one another when we say mass, when you respond to the greetings, when you join the community of believers in prayer. That is a proclamation, and that is your primary duty. To proclaim the saving truth in season and out of season. And let me tell you that the current media ecology, the social media ecology, there is very little of God in social media. It's all about dances, it's all about wars, it's all about, posting your drink in Starbucks that takes you 2 or 3 hours, a cup of coffee that costs 250 pesos, takes you 3 hours to drink. You haven't gone there to drink coffee, you've gone there to bring your dog and to socialize and to use the Wi-Fi. This is the world where we are called to be. A world of disunity, a world of inequality, a world of sinfulness. And you and I are part of this world. And yet our primary duty is to go there. So, my question, La Dumanda sa first reading, men and women of better living, Barangay Don Bosco, why are you staring up into the altar? There is work to do. You've got to proclaim. And if your katulong at home doesn't come to Mass, you're not doing your duty. If your grandchildren are in Mall of Asia from 10 a.m. all the way up to 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. on Sundays without going to Mass, you failed in your mission, your primary duty. If your in-laws are not with you at Mass and you are always at loggerheads with them, then you are failing in your mission. Your primary duty is to go proclaim, go to the whole world, proclaim the gospel to every creature. And that last line demands another 15-minute talk, which luxury that I don't have. So I'll find another opportunity for that. Suffice it to say for now that there is work for you and I to do our primary duty to proclaim the gospel. And what is the core of that gospel? The core of that gospel is what the second reading said, that you may know the hope that belongs to His call. Our primary duty is to bring hope. My primary duty is not to bring you bad news, although I couch the good news in the context of bad news. So, principle of comparison and contrast in rhetorics and in logic. When we are able to see the good news despite the reality of the bad news, then you have been evangelized. Then you are an evangelizer. I was telling my other Mass last night in UPS 4 near Sukat. I remember the time as a probinsyano when we transferred from the boonies of Cavite near Tagaytay, Mendez, to Poblacion, Makati. Napalo ako ng lola ko kasi tumakas kami, sumama ako sa nag-swimming sa Pasig River. Coming from the mountains, the boonies, the upland of Cavite, I've never seen a river in my life at 7 years old. And when I saw the Pasig River, I was mesmerized. There were people washing clothes. There were fishermen casting their nets and catching biya and ayungin and talangka in Pasig River. We swam in the Pasig River. I didn't know how to swim. I almost drowned. So I got a whipping after. My neighbor reported me to my grandmother, and I got the punishment that I never forgot. And then after that, I was run over by a car in Makati Avenue at 8 years old. I didn't learn my lessons. I'm telling you this because the Pasig River is a hopeless case, humanly speaking. And if we rest our oars on account of the fact that that river will no longer be revived, and that there is no more hope for Barangay Don Bosco and better living in Parañaque. When we were students, I remember as a young priest, I said Mass here in what is now known as Don Bosco Village. There were just 10 of us. There were less than 5 houses right in front of the water tower. We were walking from here to the seminario back and forth. There were few houses. There were few urban I don't want to use that word because it's not politically correct, informal settlers. But now there are so many. Is there hope for us? Yes. I have no right to preach hopelessness. And the reason why you came here and we are staring up together onto the altar is because the Lord is with us. He might have gone up to heaven, but that is not a departure. It is a return with a vengeance in a good sense. It is a coming to us in mystery, a coming to us in the sacramental form, a coming to us in majesty, in glory. The Lord is still with us. So let's stare up onto the altar. And at some point earlier before the end of the Mass, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Speak but the word and my hopelessness will be healed.